The hosts of Two Bored Apes are not registered investment advisors. The podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only. Nothing said on it should be construed as investment advice.
Two bored apes talking NFTs, DeFi, and some random stuff. Two bored apes talking NFTs, DeFi, and some random stuff.
Welcome to episode 37 of Two Bored Apes. I'm your host, Jaime. I'm here with my friend and co-host, Roy. Roy, as per usual, I'm curious. How are you?
You're not going to believe this, Jaime, but I just had a pretty big meal. I just had a pretty big meal. I'm a little full.
What did you have? Let's get into it.
We ordered some Japanese delivery, so...
It's a little vague.
Yeah, a little bit of sushi.
Okay.
Some tempura prawns, some chicken yakitori, and some salmon sashimi.
Now, when you say sushi, are we talking about maki or nigiri here, or some of each?
Maki.
Okay. Anything good inside of the maki you want to talk about? Spicy tuna?
Nothing too exciting. Just some salmon avocado. Salmon avocado, and I think cucumber might have been in there too.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of full though. How are you doing, Jaime?
I'm good. I'm not full. I just had a mug of coffee, and I had breakfast a few hours ago, but I'm good. I like how you ask how I am, and I launch into what
straight to food.
Yeah, when have I consumed food? Because it's a tradition on the podcast. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm very good, perhaps.
Very good. Wow.
Yeah, I'm loving the P5JS stuff, which we'll get into later. I guess
we'll get into that later.
Let's just start with news of the week. So you wrote a few things down here.
Mm-hmm.
So some of them are relevant and some of them are not. Let's start with the irrelevant one. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars. That was surprising.
Yep.
I was on the side that it was fake, or at least more likely to be fake than the general consensus was. Until that video resurfaced of him slapping a reporter on a red carpet many years ago for kissing him on the cheek or something. And then I had to capitulate and go, you know what? It seems like a thing that he does when he loses his emotional stability.
I thought it was real. Like I saw like the uncensored footage or whatever, and it just I
saw that as well, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is.
He is an actor.
He's 60 minutes later, he won humanity's largest award for being a good actor. So it didn't seem that far-fetched to me that he was acting. And also, people have been literally for years talking about how the Oscars are not relevant anymore. Nobody cares about them or talks about them. The ratings have been plummeting. So it's like, could be a good thing. But I guess at this point, it's probably real. Anyway, news of the week. Let's talk about stuff that's actually relevant to our listeners. What do you got?
So Azuki airdropped something today, and
it's literally called something real. It's a two-word thing.
Wait, we should have looked this up before. I think it's probably something.
Didn't remember.
Something official.
Something official. Okay, yeah. And the floor was 3.1 last time I looked.
3.6 now.
It's going up. And every holder got 2, as far as I understand. I totally whiffed on Azuki, so I can only be sad on the sidelines or whatever. But I do love the art for them.
That's so good. Holy crap! Floor's 4 actually now.
And people were loving the party in LA that they just had, and they dropped it during the party, as I understand.
Yeah, it was like a mic drop, airdrop, fun moment. They would like check your wallets, mic drop, airdrop type thing. Seems cool.
Gotcha.
And mic drop, airdrop type thing.
And they also did it. It's nice that they airdropped it, so there's no chance. Well, not no chance, but people aren't going to go to a fake site to try and get it because they just sent it right here. Obviously, somebody can say, "Oh, claim your airdrop here," and people will still go. But makes it a little bit
people
easier.
Didn't have to pay gas. Yeah, it was a nice way to do it. That Azuki is killing it. Just killing it.
What's the floor on them? They were maybe 18 last I checked in.
Yeah, it went up.
Like the floor did not drop after the airdrop.
I think it's about impressive. 19 now. Yeah. So Yeah, 19.
They're sort of the clear number 2 now, I guess, right?
I guess so. Yeah,
depends on how you.
Punks and
right,
Yuga, and then.
But in terms of these kind of next wave ones that are trying to do something rather than just be a historical, artistic, whatever artifact, like punks really are, I think.
Yeah.
It seems like they're number 2. I guess Clone X.
I think so.
It is vaguely close in price, but people are getting sick of the monoliths not revealing, and just
I don't know.
Azuki seems to have the buzz now for sure.
Definitely, yeah. And Doodles and Cool Cats, Gutter Cats. I mean, they're all like there, but
I mean, Gutter just had the juice, which I wanted to buy a bunch of at 0.1. It seemed obvious, and I just didn't, and now it's triple that or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, that was an Azuki airdrop.
Yep.
There was probably an even more exciting airdrop this week.
Or at least to the ears that are hearing this, right?
Yeah, we had our first Two Bored Apes airdrop. We airdropped 1,100 NFTs to loyal listeners, who had been following us on Twitter, in the Discord, submitted their ETH addresses. Vitor collected them, sent them to me. He got the asset created. It's really cool looking NFT. It's cool art, and it's got like audio for the theme songs playing. The traits, which
is honestly the best part of our podcast, right? Is the theme song. it's like unanimous.
Yeah,
our biggest fans are like, "Oh my god, the podcast is pretty good, but boy, do I love that theme song."
I'm gonna pull it up for the people who are watching this on YouTube, and the listeners can.
And we put a bunch of fun traits in it, right?
Yeah. We and if you missed out, then fear not, because we have heaps of extras, like another 1,000 or 1,500 that we will send out. So Vitor is collecting addresses. We will add the Google form in the show notes. Let me just double check that that's how he wants us to do it. He gave us some very clear instructions. And he said, please, 4 times. please, 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 please announce that the form is available to fill out for those who didn't receive the airdrop. And if you didn't receive it, or you think you didn't receive it, please check your hidden tab first.
Right, because it is on Polygon. And OpenSea generally, for good, I would say, hides things that get sent to you on Polygon by default. So you'll have to look in there.
Yeah, and then there is a Google form, and Vitor says, make the announcement in the middle or even at the beginning of the episode, please. This is the 5th please.
Very polite, that Vitor.
Very polite. All right, and then let me share my screen. So anyone curious can see. We got lovely loyal listener pass. The floor is $16. Have we had any sales? There we go. 1 sale. All right. All right. Let's go through the traits. Well, yeah, here it is. It's the flippy thing. Can you hear this?
I pretended to for a little while.
Yeah. All right. Properties
and some random stuff. Okay.
So the first trait is archetype or archetype. It is archetype. Do you want to go one by one?
Depends on how you pronounce it, right?
Yeah. What's the next trait?
Coffee and salt. The trait for that is pepper, of course.
Pepper. Of course. We've got. Let's see. Did Jaime mispronounce ETH so many times?
Yeah, it's just basically a bunch of inside jokes from the podcast.
Yeah.
It had a more logical order when we came up with them, but then I guess
it didn't come out in that order.
The traits just end up in alphabetical order based on the name of the trait rather than the attribute of it.
Yeah.
How did you not figure that out immediately?
I don't know. I don't look at details of things. I figured it was just OpenSea just randomizing it because OpenSea is bad.
Well, A is a dead giveaway. When it doesn't come in the order that you put it in, and then the first thing is an A, you can... what would you use there? Bayesian inference to assume that it's probably...
All right.
Anyway.
All
right, so we got 2 airdrops for news of the week. One for Azuki holders and one for listeners of this podcast.
And that one's still open.
Plus Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
What else we got?
For a bigger overarching thing is that the European Union, and I'm going to admit it right off the bat, I'm not an expert in European politics. I don't know exactly how it works, but the European Union's overall governing body just passed some sort of crypto legislation that has to do with like anonymous wallets and know your customer regulations and stuff. I don't know if you have more specifics. I did see on Twitter though, there's like quite a few steps between now and it actually being a thing.
Yeah.
That involves, I think, like every single individual country also having to do it. So it's more like, it seems like to me, the European Union has agreed to sort of set this forth as a goal, but their authority over each individual country within the European Union and stuff like that. And it has not even been tested in courts, which I'm sure it will plenty as well.
Yeah, that's good news because the what they're trying to pass, the regulation seems very anti-crypto. So basically, my understanding, if you want to deposit ETH or any crypto to an exchange like Coinbase, the depositing wallet also needs to be KYC'd. So currently, it's just the person who holds an account at Coinbase. Their account needs to be KYC'd. Money comes in, could be coming from anywhere, right? They're saying that wallet needs to be KYC'd, which is just, how do you even enforce that to begin with? But it seems like a really, really difficult thing. And then they said that every single crypto transaction has to be, what's the word? Like reported to the authorities. It used to be, I think, that anything over 1,000 euros worth has to be flagged and reported. And
so in the US, that equivalent number is generally 10,000.
Yeah. I think it's 1,000 euros, which is roughly 1,000, 1,200 US dollars. And then, and that's what it is for fiat. But they're saying for crypto, it's just absolutely any amount is now going to get tracked and be reported and all that kind of stuff. It's just generally anti-crypto.
The European Union seems to, from what I observe and read, have pretty good intentions, but a pretty big misunderstanding of how tech in general works. Like they've done a lot of stuff where they're trying to do good consumer protection stuff, as far as like the way they've been dealing with the big Web 2.0 companies, but sort of a misunderstanding of where their power kind of actually rests, and the ways in which they're trying to hamper them are not necessarily going to do so. You know, there's a lot of instances where, like, and this happens sometimes in the US too, where you're trying to sort of rein in some of the random bad stuff that can happen with the big Web 2.0 companies. For instance, like they want you to be really policing hate speech and stuff like that. But the implementations that they sort of force on you is such that only the really huge companies like Facebook and Google can actually be able to even come close to doing what they want them to do. So instead of sort of hurting these monopolies, they're more entrenching them, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it seems like this is another thing where, you know, rather than hurt crypto, they're going to hurt their citizens' ability to use crypto and just let, you know, Asia and North America and what have you kind of continue to surpass them in this new tech front.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, it's far from actually being an implemented thing. So
we will see.
There's that.
The market's just completely crashed for like immediately as the news broke. It's like 2 or 3% drop happened in minutes. I was actually on a call with someone, with a couple of people earlier, and we're like mid conversation. One of them was like, everything just turned red, and I obviously didn't know that they were looking at the markets. I was like my Zoom call or what's going on? And he's like, no, Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything just dropped. And I was like, what happened? Must be some news, and clearly this is it.
I think it got bought up pretty quick though. Like it didn't. I'm seem sure.
To,
which is kind of good. I mean,
well, no, it didn't actually. It's still down.
Oh yeah, but I mean, we've seen much bigger down days than that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
When the continent who used to control the entire world comes out entirely against your entirety of your tech stack or whatever.
Yeah.
And it pulls back 2%. It's like not too bad, I don't think.
All right. That was
it for news of the week.
News of the week.
Bored Ape Yacht Club. Roy, what's going on in the Bored Ape Yacht Club? What do you want to talk about? What do we want to talk about? What's going on? Come on, faster,
Been,
faster.
it's been a very exciting week. What you played with a couple of us? It's been an exciting month, honestly. Like ever since Yuga bought Lava Labs, and then they dropped ApeCoin, and then the other side video. It's been exciting, and
Yeah.
it's like now there hasn't been any enormous news, but there's still been a decent amount of stuff happening. So,
well, there was the merch drop,
right?
Would be the closest to news that was big, I guess. But also just in sort of the interim, there has been extremely interesting, lively, multifaceted debates about specifically AIPs 4 and 5, which we touched on before. And people continue to talk about it. And eventually the tide swung, and they both were voted down. I think about 70-30, roughly.
Yeah, something.
And then
like
the other three proposals passed like 99-1.
Yep, and it's just great to see.
That's where the DAO is at now.
Yeah, and it seems like I was going to say, it seems like now there's a new proposal to like cap the amount of staking of ApeCoin per NFT asset that gets like that boost or bonus. Yeah,
for sure. Like the biggest, I would say, solution that was proposed. And the guy from Animoca Brands was seemingly saying, let's pass 4 now, and then we'll sort of tack that on later, which is probably a bad idea. And that's what the NFT holders, they were going, let's get that hammered out first, and then we'll go ahead and start passing these things.
Yeah.
And I think that is a good way to do it if you're going to have these token gated pools, and then the separate ApeCoin pool. You can let the ApeCoin whales kind of fight it out for the distribution that come out of that, but to not have them diluting the NFT pool seems like a good balance between the NFT and the ERC20.
I agree. Merch? Did you get merch?
I got a bunch of merch, and then because it was a little bit buggy and people didn't know that you were only going to be allowed one checkout, they reopened it, and then I bought more, even though I had bought everything I thought I wanted the first time around. I found another one of the t-shirts that I didn't think I liked, that all of a sudden I liked a lot the next time I looked. So I got that one as well. I also was literally thinking, like, yesterday as I did that, I might just only wear Bored Ape Yacht Club clothes soon. You know what I mean? I must have bought 7 shirts. I've got plenty, or not plenty, but 3 or 4 in my closet right now. It might just, like the way that Steve Jobs and all those smart people are like, I don't want to have to use any brain cells to think about it. I might just wear blue jeans and just whatever Bored Ape Yacht Club shirt is clean, and just do that until I'm dead.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Never have to think about it again. But so, do you want to talk about? I mean, we're not fashion designers or anything, so I don't know how much we can get into it. But some people did not like the merch drop very much. And the one thing that I sort of saw people say and sort of agreed with, now they're calling it the Spring 2022 collection, right? But it's all black, which is weird for spring. To me, that sort of argument makes sense. The other thing worth mentioning, I guess, is that this was my first drop without a mutant, so I couldn't get any of the mutant stuff, which is a total bummer.
Some of it was very cool.
Yeah.
Did you end up getting a blanket?
I got 2 of the blankets.
Nice.
And then I think I got the university hoodie, the university tee, one of the sweatpants, and then I think this shirt right here, the Bored to Death, tee. Yeah, that one right there. That was the one I added on for my second transaction yesterday.
Yeah.
I decided I liked it.
I don't know if we ordered a bunch. So me and Rachel, we went on, and I immediately put an order through for the 2 blankets because they're limited edition. And then I suspected that we would only have one checkout. So then
I think I might have told you that because I 20 minutes before I submitted a what do you call the things in Discord where you're like, I want help?
Ticket.
A ticket to ask, hey, are we going to be able to do multiple things so I can grab these quick? and then go back and they said, nope, it's going to be one checkout only.
Yeah.
So just a little pat myself on the back. A lot of people on Twitter assumed, but you know what happens when you assume?
Makes a you out of us and me.
Right. I did not assume. I asked ahead of time, but then it ended up not mattering because so many people assumed that they were like, all right, fine, we'll give you another checkout.
I didn't ask, but I assumed that you could only do one checkout because that's what they've done for all the previous
That's kind of
ones.
smart too.
Yeah.
Not as smart as what I did where I confirmed it, but
well,
at least your assumption was right versus the other people's whose was wrong.
Yeah.
So again, let's just do a hierarchy here of brilliance. Me on top for confirming, you in the middle for assuming correctly, and then everybody else for assuming incorrectly.
Well, you spent extra time assuming
by
asking.
Little time, and plus, I'm a Buddhist. I'm happy in the present moment, so it doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's just I was filling out my support ticket, and I was just having a great old time.
Okay.
It was like the greatest. I don't know. I'm not even going to get into what my assumptions are for the greatest worldly pleasures, but it was fine.
Okay.
It wasn't tedious.
Okay.
You know, it was tedious though. I'm doing my taxes. Holy shit, was that annoying?
I can only imagine.
I wish the software was good. I don't understand why it's not good yet. We all knew we needed the software.
Better. Yeah,
it is getting better. I can only assume that next year it'll be good. But boy, oh boy, I did so much bullshit by hand this year.
Yeah. Anyway, merch.
Merch.
You got a bunch. I'm not sure if I got a bunch or not because there was like an error with the checkout where the payment went through, but like it didn't confirm in time on the website. And so I got to like.
It went over the 15 minutes because mine basically both at like minute 14 kind of rolled through or whatever, and we're like, you did it.
Went over. Yeah. So I am probably just going to go through now and order just everything again, and either get copious amounts of Bored Ape merch or just get the one.
Okay, so you still only did the one.
No, two transactions, two checkouts,
but multiple,
but different. Right, because Rachel has an ape in her wallet. I sent her a mutant, and then she could do both.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's cool. It's not the best merch, I would say, but like, I mean,
I really like the university tee and the university hoodie, which I saw somebody did. Somebody did one of those tier lists. I don't know how much you know about tier lists. Anyway,
I'm a gamer.
They put those in D, which to me they were like my favorite things from it. So that's the other thing too, is like afterwards people were going like, oh, Yuga Labs needs help. I'm offering my services to them, but it's like it's personal preference. You didn't like some of it, you liked some of it, other people liked all. Like, what are you talking about? You're just assuming that your tastes are the same as everybody's.
All right, I really like the mutant hoodie, the one with like the is it the M3?
Oh yeah,
serum?
Drink
it.
Yeah,
that one's really cool.
Well, I couldn't get it.
Why?
Because I sold my mutant in January, Roy.
I can get you one if you want.
But that's what am I, a poser then? I might as well right click save NFTs if I'm going to do that.
Yeah. All right. What else do we have? The floor keeps going up. That's the last thing we have on our BAYC list. It's 111 ETH now for a Bored Ape, which is
so the last time we did the non Q&A episode, we were talking about how the floor for the apes had dropped almost exactly as much as the market was valuing the ape coin, which is sort of a like normal stock market type thing that you see after dividends. But they've just been bought up. I don't know exactly who's doing it, why people are selling ape coin to buy apes. I don't know. But either way, the floor recovered very quickly and is now at a new all-time high, basically. It was like 111 when I checked this morning. Yeah,
it's definitely at an all-time high in USD terms. I think it hit like 119 previously, or 120. Yeah.
Like right before the airdrop came out, I think it was 119 is the highest I remember seeing.
Yeah,
but F has pumped since then, so the USD equivalent is a new record.
Do we want to talk about like the crypto market in general, like not the crypto market, the NFT market outside of apes, or is that like outside
Azuki's? If you'd like to, let's go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's been like good for the blue chips lately, but it seems like everything else is kind of bleeding a bit. I don't know. What are your impressions?
Yeah, I feel like that's been a pretty common theme. Is that when you're sort of looking at the upper crust stuff, it seems to generally do well, right? And then in that lower band, a couple projects will kind of make the jump but everything else will kind of dwindle down to sort of make equal and opposite reactions, like Newton would say, basically. So to make up for the value of those couple projects that do hit escape velocity, the other stuff kind of just pulls back. And it seems like we're kind of seeing a bit more of that lately. But we have very expanded ETH prices, so
this is true
relative to where they were not that long ago, which can always be tougher on the communities that are kind of middle of the pack or lower and are trying to establish themselves, especially when the war chest for these bigger projects is so much greater, and they can do stuff to excite people and to excite the holders into holding, and the potential buyers into being buyers and stuff like that. It's also like, one of the things that people have talked about for a while is sort of when somebody makes a sale, a big sale, right? You sell an ape, you sell a punk, whatever. A lot of that generally gets redistributed lower to various projects. But as time goes on, there's more and more projects to choose from to redistribute that across. Whereas up at the top, there's still kind of only like, apes, punks, if you want, Fidenzas and autoglyphs, Genesis Kongs, maybe. In terms of things that you can sell and then redistribute. But there's so many other projects to redistribute amongst, and that number just keeps going up. So it's very difficult for a random project in the, let's say 0.2 to 1 ETH range to just make that leap up to being a 5+ ETH project. But the other thing, the beautiful thing is it keeps happening. You know what I mean? Like overall, if you look at how many choices there are, it happens rarely, but it also happens constantly because there's so many to pick from, and just different communities form and different teams really succeed in executing. I mean, Azuki is case in point, is like the newest one, and now they're all the way sort of, a lot of people that like to talk about the next BAYC, the next Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's sort of the one that they're leaning into as being the one that feels like maybe it has the right stuff.
Definitely seems like it, like that they've pretty much executed flawlessly as BAYC did for so long. They've got a great community that loves them. They're doing in real life events. They've done a very successful airdrop.
It's funny because right now it's an unrevealed thing. But they did it without there being a hiccup, and they did it in a smart way again to avoid having the owners have to pay gas and possibly going to shitty sites and getting tricked, which is all great. And they managed to do it without the floor price dropping as a result to sort of make up for it. So basically, at this point, it's just been a pure enhancement of value for the owners. It would be fun to speculate what's in there, but like I don't even know enough about the lore to be able to do it well at all. Do you have one?
Me either.
Or
I have two.
Two Azuki, okay. And it's something about red beans. I mean, maybe Azuki means red bean, but that people talk about red beans. With them, I don't know why, but that's relevant. And I think there's also like a rare trait where there's like a levitating bean.
Yeah, where someone's flicking it, or like I don't really know Azuki that well either. There's like the garden is a big part of their lore. I think I don't know.
It's a literal garden.
Not that I'm aware of. Like it's just what they call their like the Discord space, or like on their website they call it the garden. It's where they hang out. Like we have the Bored Ape Yacht Club, the Swamp.
Right.
They have the garden. Bean Farmer. They had that fractionalized, that one Azuki, and he's a bean farmer, so maybe there's farmland involved, and we sound really uneducated about
I don't even know
number 2 project. Okay.
You want to move on to the art block segment then?
Yeah, let's go to.
All right. Should we say Bored Ape Yacht Club in the voice? Bored Ape Yacht Club. Art blocks. So we had another curated drop. This one is called Ancient Courses of Fictional Rivers by Robert Hodgin. And you, I think, live streamed the Dutch auction. Is that accurate?
I live streamed the Dutch auction. That is accurate.
So why don't you tell us about it, since it sounds like you know all about it?
Sure. I know all about the drop mechanic and that experience. I'm not an expert on the actual art itself. I did a bit of reading and
More so than
research.
me, though. I mean, you
Yeah.
were there, you meant it, you liked it. You liked it more than me. You were talking about it ahead of time. I thought the ones that had the more developed backgrounds looked pretty interesting,
Mm.
but overall the project didn't really excite me too much. But you were a fan.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it. I think that it's interesting how like seems like more and more of the projects that I absolutely love, the market tends not to value as highly price wise because yeah, this one is it's hovering around like a 0.15, 0.2 ETH floor. Asemica is, on the
Same.
lower end. Parabellum is on the lower end. And like I really, really love those. Not that I don't love like Fidenza or Meridian or some of the other ones, but anyway. Um
But to be fair, aside from Gazers, there hasn't been a project lately that has really had a high floor. I mean, Screens was pretty solid in the
Screens is
3 to
doing
4
well, but
range for a little while, but I think
yeah,
even now it might be below 2.
I think it might be, yeah. Edifice,
Um,
Bent, like they're all like around that one mark.
right, right,
Yeah. But yeah, I live streamed it because there was the World of Women Galaxy drop like a week ago. That was a Dutch auction, and I minted 10 at 1 ETH, and I flipped them, and I made a tweet thread, and I basically said I knew that it was going to sell at 1 ETH, and I could look at the pending transactions, and I knew what gas to put in, and just like infinite people were like, how did you know that? And
right,
I was like, well, let me show you what I do during a Dutch auction. And I had Etherscan open. I was looking at the pending transactions. And then I had like the block native side open where you can see what, it tells you what priority and max fee you need to have like a 99% chance of getting it through. And yeah, I just sat there for pretty much an hour because, the Dutch auction started at 5 ETH and dropped every 5 minutes all the way down to the lowest level was 0.1, but it got to 0.3 when it finally sold out. So there's a lot of like waiting and hanging around and not
right.
doing much. And then just like within the course of 2 minutes, we're like, all right, 200 pending, 600 pending, bam, 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 bam. And because I love them, and because to my mind, 0.3 is quite cheap for art blocks curated, let alone for one that I really love, I was just sitting there refreshing it, and I'm into 7. And yeah, it
Let's
was
look at the
fun.
ones you got. I'm curious what they look
All
like.
right, let's do that. I will get it up. You can talk for a minute about up blocks.
So the project basically, for those that can't actually see, is animated initially and then settles on a final image, and it's basically showing you. It's called ancient. Sorry, fictional courses of ancient rivers. It's basically showing you how a river's shape would change over time with the geography. Sort of finding the line of least resistance based on elevation and stuff like that. And it shows you a sort of grayed out version for the previous paths of it, and then there's sort of a different color for the ultimate one for the static image. And now Roy is showing us the 7 that he minted.
Yep, these are the 7. This one, number 788, is kind of wild and different to most of the other ones.
Yeah, it almost looks like an apparition a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. It's like the river is wild.
It's so zoomed in too, which is very
Yeah,
different from the other ones. That one is very cool actually,
yeah.
and really like is it kind of is abstracted away from what
Hmm.
the project is sort of meant to be, almost, because the scale of the river versus the scale of sort of the map background is so
Hmm.
big that it's like it's unreal in a very interesting way.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up another one.
The color too is unusual. It seems like it's more of an earth tones type project, and then this one you've got that sort of lime green.
Yeah, and then this one, to me, looks more rivery.
Right.
When it's done.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, is there a discrepancy? I actually kind of like that. Maybe I'm liking this project more than I
It's a
thought I
great
did.
project.
Yeah, the what's left behind there is very interesting in the way
Yeah.
that as they're kind of moving a little bit, it creates a three-dimensional looking shape
Mhm.
to it, even though it's trying to sort of just be a bird's eye view of basically the surface of a river.
Yeah.
So it's making these interesting curves.
Yeah. I love the like the map in the background of
Right.
like the towns. I wish it was like a little more uh I don't know what the word is, like maybe a little more contrast or like some extra color or some just extra stuff there.
Right.
But I love it still. Um Maybe we'll look at one more and then we'll save the listeners who can't watch this.
425 looks like it might be interesting.
This one? Yeah.
Oh,
I really love this color palette. It's got like a violet
You're purple. Purple's your whole
background.
thing right now.
It is. Oh yeah, see like this one, the background I like a little more. It's got a bit more I don't know,
Texture.
texture,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where there's sort of something topographical in addition to the streets or whatever.
I bet these would look great printed.
Yeah,
Just
I
like
bet.
few of them side by side. I want to print so much art. It's ridiculous. So much art. I bought so yesterday I tweeted a Meridian and someone replied saying that they got I think it was a gen.art Fuel FJALL print, and they look amazing. And I had a look at them, and I agree they look amazing. I'm going to try and bring it up here. Yeah,
Nice.
so I bought that, and it was like 0.15 or something on secondary, which I think is
I
quite
don't know
good.
what that means. You bought that. What is
I
that?
bought this. This is an NFT. This is like a rendering of what it would look like framed, but I got the actual.
Oh, okay. So I
NFT.
thought you were saying that that was the piece that somebody had printed to show you.
No.
Oh, okay.
So the collection is Fuel, and it's just a bunch of NFTs you can buy, and you can get like signed prints of them. And I think that they just look awesome when they're printed.
And it also is a bit reminiscent of Meridian there.
Yeah.
And
really cool drop
too, really.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is a different artist. It's not also Matt.
Yeah, it's a different artist.
Cool.
All right.
I've been thinking about getting a pen plotter actually, as I've been getting more into generative art, and especially like the learning about the history of it, because that was such a popular way to bring it to real life. And it sort of mimicked in terms of the way it was happening automatically, and you were like watching it get created in real time by an automatic machine. It just kind of thematically was going with what was happening, but then bringing it into that real ink and paper that people are used to with traditional art. It was kind of crossing that divide in an interesting way, while not shying away from the fact that this is computer art.
Is there, with pen plotters, is there any element of like randomness that can be involved, or do you have to like specify exactly what you want it to plot?
I'm not a genius that has any pen plotter knowledge really, but my understanding is that generally what people are doing is you already have this image on your computer, and now you're going print this. I'm sure technically though, you could plug it in and have the computer send a message to it to just start kind of doing stuff. But generally, I think what they're doing is you create the art, and then you have the pen plotter bring it to real life.
Cool. Yeah, that would be awesome, I think.
Yeah.
That would be a really cool thing to own and to use and to have. And
I don't know where I would put it, because they're a bit bulky, and I don't exactly have a ton of room on my what is this called? Desk.
Yeah. You really had to grasp for that word there.
Yeah, I couldn't think of it, and I had one right in front of me.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think with I didn't have anything to say. I was just going to keep talking. We could talk about FX Hash though. The beta's ending tonight, basically. So if there's anything you want to mint, you don't know about this?
I know that it's ending, and I know that there's some token, but that's the extent of it.
Basically, any project that is open for minting, once the beta ends, there will be no more. That it's your last chance to mint every single project that's open right now.
Huh. And then, do you know what the plan is going forward? Is it just going to be like,
I don't really. I know that they're going to have some way to add like collaborative projects.
Mm.
Because I was DMing with a Zancan collector, and it kind of just came up. But other than that, I also barely even know what that means.
Yeah.
But other than
Yeah.
that, no, I don't really know anything. I mean, you're saying the word token. I didn't really know that that was even part of it necessarily.
I heard somewhere there's some token for people who
Yeah.
bought or minted or something. Um, I would, yeah, I guess I'd be curious to know if they are planning to introduce any element of curation, or it'll just be like open season again. Just
Right.
yeah,
I don't know their plans. I basically have become a very big fan of them, and use the site somewhat frequently to buy art, but
yeah,
haven't spent time in the Discord, and am only just barely starting to interact with the fellow proponents of it on Twitter. So I don't really know all that much. Other than that, it's got a lot of interesting generative art that's very affordable that I've been
yeah.
buying and appreciating.
And I think price wise, things are sort of like picking up, I would say, and doing well.
For
Like for a
sure. Yes,
while,
like in December it
yeah,
went crazy,
yeah,
and then it all pulled back from that sort of euphoria mania phase, and then in the
mm,
last maybe 3 weeks or so, it's been starting to do well again.
yeah. Wow,
That's
there's
my
some.
understanding.
I'm just scrolling through my collection now. I I love art. I love generative art. It's so much
I don't
fun.
remember you ever really caring about it either until we got into NFTs too.
Yeah, I mean, I liked some art. I liked like impressionism and a few artists in particular, but like I was never crazy for art.
Right.
I've pretty much literally never hung art on a wall in anywhere that I've lived. Um, but now that's I want to do so much of it. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. And I think I'm far from alone. I know there's so many people who
Yeah.
get into NFTs going, I'm going to flip, I'm going to make money, I'm here for the money. And then like 6 months later, they're just, I'm never selling that. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm keeping that. Yeah.
Especially when you came in at a time that we came in where, if you came in around then, it was, relatively speaking, so easy to end up being quite successful that you were able to stick around and able to go, okay, even though the prices for this are rather expensive, I just like it, and it's a thing that
Mm,
I own. It's not a financial asset at this point. It's a thing that I own that I like. um
yeah.
in the same way that, I don't know, you buy, I don't need to explain to people what it means to buy something that your intention isn't to resell it, right? We do that with lots of things all the
We
time.
do. Yeah.
But because of how easy it is to transact with NFTs,
Mm,
there is a sense to a lot of people, that's just nonsense when people act like there's something that they have no plans of selling literally ever.
yeah. Yeah.
It almost seems like it's always them, to the skeptics that are going like, I dare you to try and make me prove that I'm not
Yeah.
going to sell it. Like, well, okay, nobody's offering you $2 million for your NFT, so it's like,
Unless you're Richard.
well, but that's a punk. I'm acting. I'm talking about like an NFT that nobody puts a ton of
Yeah.
value on, and you're going, oh, I
Yeah.
would never sell it. It's like,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
trying to challenge somebody to offer millions for that, because it's not going to happen.
It's
They're
not going to
just saying they
happen.
don't
Yeah.
want to sell it.
Yeah. Huh.
Art blocks,
Art blocks.
art
Project.
projects.
Do we do a song for this usually? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't technically have a project at this point, so it seems weird to even say
Yeah,
our
we used to be
project.
like ZenAcademy and Abstract of the Day, and then now it's
Right.
ZenAcademy and you're doing stuff again.
I
You're
am doing
creating
stuff
art.
again. That is true.
Yeah. What are you up to?
So I finally started learning P5.js, which is basically the go-to language for doing generative art. Um, just as a little bit of a history lesson, I don't know it perfectly well, but basically, Casey Reyes and somebody else made a language called processing. Sorry, my brain just stopped working for a second. Called processing, which I believe was based on Java, and that was sort of the go-to for a while. And then eventually JavaScript became a thing, and somebody else came along and said, "What if you tried to remake processing right now, but in JavaScript instead of Java?" which I think made it more like web native and stuff like that. I'm not too sure about all that. But anyway, that happened, and it was called P5.js, and it's great for making generative art, and it's the go-to thing. And I started learning it the other day. I had no experience with JavaScript, so it's not easy. And I've done a little bit of programming for a very long time now, but I basically get close to being competent, and then sort of my life takes me in a different direction. And by the time I need to do programming again, the use case is something that is best served with a language that I have no experience with. So first it was R, or if you want to really go all the way back, I learned like QBasic and Visual Basic when I was very young. And then I took a 15-year break from ever caring or something like that. Probably less, but it doesn't matter, 10.
Yeah.
And then I learned some R, and then I took another break, and then I learned some Python. And that was maybe 3.5, 4 years ago where I was doing my Python stuff at this point. And then I put that down, and now here I am again trying to learn another language, P5.js. But it doesn't seem too difficult, and there's a lot of good resources, and I know some people that are quite competent programmers that I can ask for help and stuff. But even I'm literally, I think, 5 days into it. I've already created stuff that I think looks great, and I'm not even really so much trying to create art at this point as I am trying to learn the language, so I have the tools to create art in the future. But while I'm learning things, basically right now I'll pick an idea in my head and then go, all right, let me see if I can get this code to make that image. So the first thing I did is I took one of my abstract of the days that was rather simple, and I said, let me try and recreate this with P5.js. Roy's yawning; he's bored with my story. And it came out pretty well. It wasn't too difficult. And then I've just been kind of playing with some other stuff. I go, oh well, what if I made this? And I've just been doing it and having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very exciting.
I was kind of surprised with how quickly you were able to recreate your first, like the abstract of the day.
I was a little bit surprised too, but I mean, it's not complicated, really. It was a background color and a handful of rectangles. And then the hardest part was figuring out the blurring effect, because it was sort of an airbrush tool that I had used initially to make the rectangles, and I was not sure how to do that in P5.js for a while, but I figured it out. And it is really awesome. So I've talked about when I did digital art on the podcast before, that it felt very exciting because I did some drawing when I was younger, but then mostly did watercolors. And when I started doing digital, it was great because you were just able to harness the power of the computer to amplify what you were able to accomplish in terms of being able to undo was huge, and to be able to resize stuff and multiply it, and just all of that stuff that a computer can do that you literally, there's just no way to do that with traditional art. Awesome. And really amplified my powers. And I feel like this is sort of that same kind of level of step up to where I can just harness the power of the computer in a more innate way, because now I'm like talking to it in its own language. Right now, Roy's laughing at me. First he's yawning at me, now he's laughing at me. And it's very exciting. And I've got books everywhere about it. I've got a million tabs open. I know you've done a little bit of programming, and you know what it's like to have all these tabs open. Searching for this, cheat sheets, and all that good stuff.
It's fun. It's so fun.
Yeah. And it's also normally it's a bit more of a, how do I phrase this, like sort of serious, studious work type reason that I have to do it. Whereas now I'm doing it for the sake of creating art, which is like an inherently fun task that brings me joy. So it's helping me not be as, because boy, programming can be super frustrating when you don't know what your error is, or even how to start trying to do what you want to do. But when the goal is just to create nice looking art, is like that's more fun.
Now, do you have sort of a secondary goal of wanting to, say, release an NFT project on FX Hash or maybe Art Blocks one day?
I would love to do both of those for sure. but I feel like I mean, like I said, I think I'm literally 5 or 6 days into it. So that's pretty much putting the cart before the horse. It does seem though, honestly, like because of the fact that FX Hash has no curation and you can price stuff so low, I could literally do one there relatively soon. But that's not my intention. The thing that I want to do right now is I had a bunch of pieces in my abstract of the day collection called Woven Wonder and Almost Woven Wonder that were things that were sort of related. Because I did a thing once and I liked it and I started doing other stuff like it. My goal right now, my short-term goal, is to figure out how to sort of codify that into a generative art piece of code and see if I can make something that has that same essence, but can be, I can make 1,000 pieces of it at once instead of painstakingly, one a day or whatever, like I was doing there, and have a more diversity of outputs. And, one of the things that I hear from people that do a lot of generative art is that what can be so fun is when you get a nice diverse algorithm, you get just completely unexpected outputs that like you didn't conceive of.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
And it'll be interesting when I have sort of a complex enough algorithm to be able to see any of that. Because right now, again, I'm very much learning, and I'm like throwing rectangles up onto the screen in various numbers and colors and shit like that. But it's so exciting.
I'm a little jealous. Like that sounds like a lot of fun. I want to be learning generative art too. One day.
You can.
Yeah, definitely. Did you, so in your journey of the coding languages you learned, did you ever try and learn Solidity? Can't remember.
Well, so I did, I don't know if you know about that Crypto Zombies. There's a website, cryptozombies.io. It's basically a Solidity dev program, little training class. And I did a little bit of it, very little, before I just kind of fell off and got distracted by other NFT stuff. It was basically like at the time where I was going, wow, the most valuable skill in the world is probably knowing Solidity. And I kind of still believe that.
You were right,
It became sufficiently lucrative and easier to do other stuff in NFTs rather than try and figure out how to actually learn another programming language, which again, I don't feel like I've ever been good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did have that fall by the wayside. That there's basically 3 languages I would say that I've learned in any sort of real capacity, and that would have been Basic, R, and then Python. And so I did dabble in Solidity, but nothing real, really.
Yeah. I pretty much did the same. I did like 2 lessons, chapters, or whatever of that, and yeah, then it was just like other NFT things just took precedence.
Yeah. I was like racing Zed horses and stuff at the time. I just
wonder what's going on with Zed.
I actually heard Z1 prices are finally going up again.
That's nice for them.
Yeah, for them.
Yeah. Well, for the people who own them.
Correct. Yeah, not for the NFTs themselves. They have no feelings yet. No NFTs currently have feelings, but eventually. Although I did see
eventually.
I saw a headline the other day. Somebody's trying to sell their soul as an NFT. Which is stupid,
of course,
but funny.
Yeah.
So that's the update on kind of what I've been doing. But how about you? Tell us about ZenAcademy, or this Nasacademy course. What do you want to tell us about?
Yeah, well, let's talk about the Nasacademy course because that is going live on the 10th of April. So just over a week after this comes out, people will begin to start taking the course, and it's exciting.
Unless nobody takes it, 0 people take it.
Well, 175 have signed up so far. So that's something.
Odds are at least one of them will show up.
At least one of them will turn up. And this is before we even have the functionality for like ZenAcademy holders to sign up for free. That's just, we're waiting on the tech and there's some bugs, but hopefully that's out in the next day or 2 as well. Exciting and terrifying. It should be interesting to see. Like for me, from my perspective, I feel like, the course is about 10 hours of content on how to launch an NFT project. And every single day, every single module, I'm like, well, I really needed to spend another 20 hours just really going over it. There's so many different things. So I'm like, well, that's missing information. That's missing. Are people going to take this and be like, well, I wish there was more uncomprehensive, or because I don't know what I don't know. There might be people who are pretty new to NFTs and just think that everything is like valuable information. Like they had not even considered a community manager for Discord. Maybe they didn't even know that you need Discord. Maybe they didn't know that you need. Maybe they didn't know that you could launch on another blockchain. And yeah,
Yeah. It's very easy after the fact to go, oh boy, I wish I had said this, that, and the other thing.
yeah,
But that's sort of the nature of putting something out there, is that once it's out there, it's out there,
yeah,
and it has to be finished at some point.
yep, yep. But it's exciting. It should be fun.
I would also lean into the fact that people are for sure going to get a lot of value out of it, even though you're going, I wish I could have expanded on every single one of these topics. There's no way that you talked about, launching an NFT project for 10 hours and people aren't going to get a lot out of that, even though you wish you could have got into the nitty gritty on various parts of it more.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's coming up soon. That's exciting. And then ZenAcademy. Obviously it's in my mind a pretty decent perk to get access to this course, which what are you pointing at? Hogwarts?
Pointing at Hogwarts because you've been doing the Harry Potter.
Yeah, we're coming along. Emily, so she is a creative writer as well as working on marketing and other stuff and branding. So she's been writing the lore or some of the lore and mythology for ZenAcademy, and it's going to be exciting to. Well, I haven't even heard most of it yet. It's going to be exciting to hear it, but then also be able to share it with the community and build out that sort of vision a little bit more. That almost like rebranding. We have a new logo coming soon, a new website coming soon. Just like
a website, right? Because you don't have an existing one.
Yeah, technically there's a mint website for the token and the 333 Club, but there's not like an official website for ZenAcademy. So,
but there will be soon.
There will be. Well, yeah, there will be.
There will be.
There will be. The website will be up in the next month. It'll be like a landing page, which will hopefully be fun with some cool graphics and animations. And then we'll start to fill that out with content shortly after.
Cool.
And yeah, it's coming cool. We had a partnership with Gallery.so.
I saw that announcement
this week.
Today.
So anyone who has a ZenAcademy NFT or a 333 Club NFT, as of today, we took a snapshot, and then they will be able to go and mint a membership pass for Gallery and go create their own gallery, and that's fun. I think I'm excited to see some of the galleries that people create. It's just fun, like creating a gallery and looking through your art and stuff. So yeah, that's cool. And the 333 Club is getting close to minting out. I'm finally processing applications again. It's just like I'd been delaying it for a while and I had all these applications banked up. So we should be minted out finally, I would say, within the next 2 weeks. And then, nice. And then we can keep doing stuff.
I pointed at the Hogwarts thing to talk about the fact that you're doing the Harry Potter watch-alongs, and then you just launched into some other thing.
Oh, I thought you were talking about how ZenAcademy is like trying to be Harry Potter for the metaverse, or like Hogwarts for the metaverse.
Even though your lawyers say you're not allowed to say that.
Right. That's why I like sidestepped it.
Yeah. No, I was talking literally just about the actual Harry Potter watch-alongs that you were doing in the Discord.
Yeah. No, that's really fun. We actually have one tonight. So we've watched the first 2 Harry Potter movies, and tonight we're going to watch the third one.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Prisoner of Azkaban. We have POAPs going out to anyone who attends, and it's just fun. Like, people are having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun watching and chatting about the movies, and yeah,
I'm gonna have to join at one point because Kayla and I have both been meaning to rewatch those movies anyway.
Yeah,
and this will give me a good excuse to do it and hang out in the Discord a little bit.
Hop in tonight in a few hours. Yeah.
How many hours specifically?
I think 6. It begins 5.5 to 6.
That's actually pretty doable.
Yeah.
I think I might wait for Goblet of Fire though. Or Deathly Hallows Part 1. I really like the end of it. That was me being Voldemort holding up the Elder Wand.
I got
at the very end. I know, but the sound was not accurate, and a lot of people are only listening. So to them, they go, "What? What just happened?"
There's a lot of great Harry Potter gifs out there. Like, people
I can imagine. There's a lot of movies and a lot of rabid fans about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else? This is the part of the show where we just talk about
just get
stuff.
so
and the show doesn't end.
sidetracked.
But Moon Knight just came out last night, and I want to start watching that too. So that's kind of
What's
going to
that?
get away. But hang on a second. Also, the basketball season is like really wrapping up, and the I'm not kidding you. The standings in the East are like very, very close right now. So every game is very important. Okay, Moon Knight. Moon Knight is a character in the Marvel universe, and they just released maybe the first 2 episodes of his show on Disney Plus. He's always been an interesting character to me, but I've never actually read a comic of his that I thought was good.
I've never even heard of. Does he like interact with other Marvel characters that I might know, or is he very standalone?
Not a ton. He's sort of like, imagine if Bruce Wayne had dissociative identity disorder and then also had superpowers from an ancient Egyptian god. That's basically where you're at with Moon Knight. But they have Oscar Isaac. This is so ridiculous that this is an NFT podcast. Oscar Isaac's playing him. I think he's a great actor, and for the most part, I like all the stuff that Marvel's been this is so stupid that they've been putting out. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna probably watch some of that soon.
Okay. Thanks for the update, Jamie.
You're welcome. Well, just to say that it's going to be harder to get into the Harry Potter watch-alongs because I've got all this other stuff I need to watch.
Well, so
I saw the Batman
already
too. Do we already talk about that?
Ooh. I don't think we've spoken about the Batman or the newest Spider-Man movie, which
we must have talked about the new Spider-Man, right? That was so long ago. Anyway, we saw them both. They're very good movies.
I like them both.
We encourage people to watch movies, right? Movies are good. Entertainment,
movies are good.
It's fun. Spider-Man was fantastic. I thought
that was great.
Really spectacular. I keep cracking up that this is an NFT podcast.
Hey, we promised random stuff. We promised random stuff.
That's true. It's usually more evenly distributed rather than just dropped off all in a chunk at the end. Speaking of random stuff, though, should we play again? What am I thinking?
Yeah, let's do it.
And then wrap up the episode. Let's think. What to say? Okay, I got a word. Oh no, I'm changing it.
Okay.
Okay, I got one.
Okay, I got one.
3, 2, 1. Railroad.
Butter.
Railroad and butter.
Huh.
Railroad and butter. Okay, I got a word.
You got a word. All right.
3, 2, 1. Commerce. Commerce and farm. Commerce and farm. Okay, I got a word.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Commodities.
Produce.
Commodities and produce. Commodities and produce. Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. All right.
3, 2, 1. Wheat.
Wheat. We're so good.
Yeah, we are pretty good at this.
Imagine if the very first time we just say the same word. That would be wild.
That would be wild. How would that ever happen? There's too many words for that.
Yeah, but like, especially if we're looking.
By the way, speaking of which, my friend tried to tell me that he got the Wordle word on his very first guess the other day, and I was like, "You're lying to me. Why are you lying about this?" But he claimed like his alarm clock went off, and the word happened to be said there, so it was already in his brain. It was just a coincidence. I don't know. Sounds very suspicious to me, though. And
I got one on the second try.
Hang on. That happens all the time, right? It was also one of these words that had like double letters. So if you were actually trying to play Wordle correctly, it would have been a terrible first guess.
Yeah.
But then again, so his story was not that he was trying to do that. It was that he just wanted to put the word out because it was in his brain.
Have you played Quaddle? The quad Wordle thing?
Have you played Frame.wtf? I mean, maybe you can tell me about Quaddle too, but there's a lot of these. Frame.wtf is a good one. It just shows you an image, a still image from a movie, and then you have to try and guess it. And then you get 6 guesses. It's a different screen grab for each one.
Well, this site can't be reached. Framed.wtf.
Today's you'll actually get quite easy, I think. Unless I'm thinking of yesterday's.
Now I'm just playing frame.
Yeah, well, at least do share screen on this one for the people watching, because this is a very visual one. Yeah, okay. This is the one I thought it was.
I don't know what this is. Kind of looks like a Miyazaki movie. A little bit. I'm not good with animated movies.
This is hilarious for the people not even watching. You're listening to Roy look at a still image from a movie.
All right, let's put in something that I know it's not is.
You got it. Boom.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's Haku, basically the second main character of the movie. I got that one in one as well.
Huh. Well, I feel great now.
So what's Quordle? Now let's talk about Quordle. I don't know that one.
Quordle it's like you do 4 Wordles at once.
Oh, I don't know that one. I did a math one that's basically algebraic equations, and then another one where it shows you a map of a country and you have to guess it. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah. You have 9 guesses to get all 4. So
whoa.
Yeah. I tried it once and I did it like at 6 a.m. before going to sleep. My brain was fried and I just gave up after like 3. I was like, I can't. But people are loving it.
We should wrap this episode up probably before it gets too insufferable for people just listening.
I think that there was something off topic I wanted to mention. But before we do that, we should mention again the NFT for anyone that wants one. The Two Bored Apes loyal listener card. There'll be a link in the show notes. Fill it out. A Google form. Fill it out.
And now, doesn't it also give you access to something?
It does. It gives you access to the ZenAcademy Discord, the Two Bored Apes channel within the ZenAcademy Discord. So that's where Jaime and I hang out. That's where other fans hang out. And
I have not been hanging out there as much lately as I need to be. And I'm trying to get back in there.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. This has been episode 30-something of Two Bored Apes.
37.
37.
Bye.
Two Bored Apes talking NFTs, DeFi, and some random